Hello, everyone. Welcome to the UpRev Ninja Podcast. If this is your first time listening, thanks for joining us. This show is produced each week with the single intent of discovering the tips, tricks, hacks, and lessons learned from our guests that has catapulted them into living the best version of themselves. Join your host, Tom Hudson, as he continues his search for the best methods to UpRev his life. Now, let's dive into the show.
Hey, you're listening to the UpRev Ninja Podcast, and this is episode number 25 with Brannon Beliso, Living Your Best Life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the UpRev Ninja Podcast. If this is your first time listening, thanks for joining us. This show is produced each week with the single intent of discovering the tips, tricks, hacks, and lessons learned from our guests that has catapulted them into living the best version of themselves. Join your host, Tom Hudson, as he continues his search for the best methods to UpRev his life. Now, let's dive into the show.
Brannon Beliso is dedicated to helping people live their best life through learning and self-discovery. He is an 8th degree black belt, a former recording artist with 3 top 10 hits, owner of 2 very successful martial arts schools, and the center of an internationally distributed life skills education system, Kids Love Life Skills. Brannon is a TEDx speaker, published author, writer, speaker, and mentor. He humbly presents workshops and seminars for such companies as Facebook and Microsoft with a mindset that we can always do and be better. Brannon is committed to being a student for life and is a dedicated father, husband, and servant to the community. Hey, today on the UpRev Ninja Podcast, I got Brannon Beliso with us. How are you doing today, Brannon?
I'm excellent, sir. I'm very well, Tom. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's funny, as we were talking just before I started the show, what you do for, I don't want to say for a living, but what you do in the martial arts world is pretty awesome. I've watched the TED Talks and a lot of your YouTube videos, and I've got a martial arts background myself, and I really feel what you're taking a lot of the lessons and the teachings from, I think, martial arts, and doing what everyone probably should be doing. Getting the community involved and trying to make the community a better place. What made you transition into that?
Well, I think with the martial arts background, Tom, it's a real easy fit. We talk about Eastern philosophy, and you bring that into a Western culture, and I grew up here, but I think typically in a Western culture, we reach externally for peace and happiness, a bigger car, a bigger house, more money. Where today, you have these young kids, especially out here in Silicon Valley, boom, they're millionaires overnight in a startup. So
right.
They've got all the money and they're so disenchanted, they're so unhappy that they're recognizing what's more valuable, what's the greater asset, what makes me richer is to have purpose, to have some purpose. So everyone's searching for that why. So Eastern philosophy, we know, Tom, the journey's inward, not outward. So that's been my lifelong experience, having started martial arts at 5 years old. It's really about the journey inward, not outward. And through that journey inward, I've discovered my purpose and why I'm here.
Well, I think that's really great. And so you started at 5 years old. When do you think you felt you found your purpose? And what?
Well, I don't think it's much like being any artist. I mean, I'm never a master of anything. I'm a work in progress. I live from a growth mindset. I learn from a learning mindset. So is there any one singular aha moment that I woke up one day and said, this is my life's calling?
Right.
I think every day, one day, one morning I'm combing my 5-year-old daughter's hair, and that's my sole purpose. At another time, I'm working with a school owner and helping them define their vision for their business. At other times, I'm writing a book. So I think that changes, and through each part of it, I'm constantly discovering how to be a better me. Even at my worst, Tom, when I'm lying flat on my face, and I say this all the time, I do some of my best learning lying flat on my face. And through those mistakes, can I have enough self-love, enough self-esteem, enough self-confidence to learn from that and be a better me? That's the scary part, because when we do falter, when we do make mistakes, when we do fall short, we can go down and spiral down this abyss into this dark hole of self-loathing, and we never learn the lesson we were supposed to get from it and become a better me.
You said that perfect. I mean, I think what I heard in there is there's a lot of gratitude. There's a lot of living in the moment. Like when you said, if you're brushing your daughter's hair, that's what your purpose is right then. And I think living in the moment, it says so many different things about a person that can do that. Just because you're not sitting there, checking Facebook and, getting dopamine hits from the latest like, or like you said, some of the folks in Silicon Valley and, other places, instant millionaires overnight. And then, they don't know how to express gratitude because, this kind of goes back to, I guess, maybe what I was taught as a kid. You didn't earn you didn't necessarily earn it because you didn't have to work for it. If you become an instant millionaire overnight, well, then how are you going to appreciate and be able to express gratitude for that? So
right, and Dalai Lama will say it best: suffering is part of life. And we put this big, especially here in our culture, we put such a big omen on suffering that we do have opioids, we do have therapy, anything we can do to prevent our child or ourselves from suffering. We'll do that. And that's why drugs, alcohol, all these other distractions, when suffering is no different. It's just one of the many emotions. Love is not a Hallmark greeting card. Love is all inclusive, warts and all. So suffering is part of love and suffering is part of life. And we shouldn't put such a big dark cloud over it. We should embrace suffering like a best friend, because through that is what's going to help us be a better self today. People we love will die. Things we have will go away. That's just life. And if we can still, through that, be a better person, I mean, that's the art of life. It just is.
So I absolutely love what you're saying, Brannon. And I'm curious, how do you've got this growth and positive mindset, which I absolutely adore. I'm curious, how do you what exercises do you do to keep that always at the forefront? Because I mean, I know, we are always trying to improve ourselves and we're never going to be the master of, any facet of our life. But, we do hit stumbling blocks sometimes and, we get in these, depressed states or sad states. How do you, turn that around and pull yourself up?
Well, I think first of all is laying the foundation each and every morning upon waking up. And we've all woken up in a bad mood. That's just life. We're not in control of that. But if I can automatically have some type of ritual or a system, I'm a big guy on writing systems for my business. Well, my system when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I breathe in. And I mindfully say to myself, I am breathing. And then I breathe out. And as I breathe out, I say, I am grateful. I get another day to live my best life. And then I breathe in, I say I'm breathing, I breathe out, I go through my gratitude list. My health, my success, my family, my shortcomings, my challenges. I'm grateful for every part of my life. It's really not a healthy thing to compartmentalize and separate the positive and the negative. Sometimes the yin and the yang in the martial arts are super powerful because the black is no more relevant than the white. The yin energy is no more relevant than the yang energy. They both commingle together to create that sense of balance. So I don't shy away from pain. I embrace any of those things like my best friend. And what facilitates that every morning is creating that sense of gratitude. And then when I get out of bed, it's the same thing. I realize I have a choice. Each and every day, I have a choice. I can choose, like in the Matrix, to take the blue pill or take the red pill.
Right.
I don't want to walk through life, and you see it every day. People walk around with their eyes wide open, and they're totally asleep. And that's a shame. It's like driving your car, and you stop at the light and go, did I just drive 3 blocks?
Yeah.
Talk about not being present. The present is called the present because it is truly a gift. As cliche as that is, it's been said a million times. The present is truly the present because it is a gift. Confucius said that. If I live in the past, I'm depressed. If I live in the future, I'm anxious. If I live in the moment, I have peace. So it's really the art of learning to live in the moment. In the moment. I don't mean be reckless and, who cares? Could die tomorrow. Let's drink, do drugs, spend all our money, run up the debt. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
I'm talking about being fully present right here, right now with you.
Well, it's mindful living.
It is. And that mindful, they think, you have to shave your head and sit on a rock and wait 30 years for enlightenment. That's simply not true. It's a habit like anything else. And if you practice it on a daily basis and make it a habit, you'd be amazed what happens in your thinking.
So what's your regimen look like in regards to, teaching your students and, the communities that you work with, some of these habits?
I think the best way is to lead by example. Number one is to lead by example. Walk your talk. Again, in our culture, we spend so much wasted energy on perpetrating a fraud, posturing, wearing the Brooke Brothers suit, wearing the Rolex watch, driving the expensive car, and you're in debt up your behind. I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm only trying to keep up with me. And so that's really important. If I can lead by example, if I can be a truer self, live from a place of transparency, then there's no wasted energy on creating this facade. And that's huge. That's huge in our culture, especially creating that facade, the image, right? What image do you want to create? Because I'm a motivational speaker. What do you mean, what image do I want to create? I want to be me. Well, how do we package that and market that?
Right.
Are you self-help for the corporate world? Are you no? This is what I do. This is who I am. So for me, it's a 24/7 existence. I help people all the time via Facebook with their businesses for free. I work with clients for top dollar. It's what I do, whether I get paid or not. This is my purpose. And so it's very easy to set that example. And really, that picture you see all the time, the old type of leadership for the entrepreneurs out there, for the people, old leadership, you're sitting up high behind a desk with a whip, cracking it while everyone's pushing the rock. Well, new leadership, you're right up against the rock with your team, pushing it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And, well, that is leadership. I think there's this misnomer about, the definition of leadership and what a manager is. And I think a lot of people still have this managerial mindset or, definition when they look at what a leader is. But no, I think a leader jumps in the trenches and, encourages people and coaches them and leads them into, doing things that they might not necessarily want to do, not against their own health or anything, but, to give them that, just encouragement, but the courage and inspiration to do things. So,
well, I think that's, again, based upon trust. If you trust me, then you're more likely to follow me into battle or life or whatever that might be. So I think a lot of people as leaders, by living a very transparent life, a very honest life, a very integrity-driven life, it's you cut through the chase. So people's ability to grow, to trust you will happen much more quickly. And unfortunately, with all the fakes out there, I will say that, they create a huge wedge between people's ability to trust one another. And that, I think, is something we're all working against, like gravity, like getting old. I mean, we're all working against that as a metaphor that we really want to build trust. I look at the whole situation in the world. It's about nobody trusts each other.
Right.
Nobody. So it's that fear-based thinking that is creating that. So how do we eliminate that fear-based thinking? In Eastern philosophy, we've got the mind, the body, and the spirit. I don't know what your spirituality is. It's not for me to say. Everybody needs some spiritual component. I don't care what you want to call it, a Billie Holiday song you listen to, a Bruce Lee movie, I don't know. Whatever that might be that establishes spirituality. Even every doctor will tell you, scientifically, it's been proven. You're going into some kind of major surgery. If you have some kind of spirituality or faith, they get through surgery better and they recover better. So that's strict scientific data. So we need that component because the more we have faith, for the lack of a better word for people, about how they want to slice or dice that, I call it faith. You could use God, good orderly direction, whatever you want to label that. I think that's the only way, because if I have to sit and look at the news and see what North Korea is doing to the U.S., what Russia's doing with the U.S. and all that, I mean, it's a very helpless situation. So what's going to make you still get up, have a positive attitude, and get through that day?
Yeah, not subscribe to cables. The first thing I did.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the client I'm working with right now says, "You don't watch very much TV, do you?" I said, "Absolutely not."
Right.
Well, then you're not helping. But no, that's not true. What am I going to do with Syria right now? What can I do? Can I fly over there? Can I stand there and stop them? I can't stop any of that.
Right.
But what I can do is meditate on them finding peaceful resolutions, meditate on them discovering their truer self and not living in fear. Look at our current political situation. It's so fear-based. Everything's fear-based. And I know people say, well, you're San Francisco, kumbaya. It's got nothing to do with that. Love is probably the single most powerful emotion that can heal things, but so is respect, so is trust, so is perseverance, determination, so is hope, so is faith. So those things as a word by themselves mean nothing until we truly live it. So yeah, I do shut off the news. I don't watch a lot of it at all. but I do walk through life trying to lead by example and inspiring people that, hey, you know what? Can't rain all the time. It can't.
Yeah. So, that's from The Crow, right? Can't rain all the time.
It can't rain all the time.
Yeah.
And he did that. That interview, just naturally segueing into that, his interview, he talked about that before he died. How many more full moons are we going to see?
Right.
How many in our lifetime? So to wake up every day with a sense of gratitude. I used to think you had to be old to die, Tom. No, you don't. You can die at birth. You can die of cancer at 10. There's no rhyme or reason. So every day you wake up is a good day. Is a good day. And if we can really embrace that, we don't squander it. We don't squander the opportunities that we're giving. Everything that we're given is such a blessing, and that deep sense of gratitude helps us facilitate that, which promotes happiness. As you saw in my TED Talk, I'm happy on purpose. Happiness to me is crucial.
Right. The, going back to something you stated earlier about the person that said, oh, well, you're not helping, and not to get in an argument with that person, but, you absolutely are. I mean, just based on what you're doing in your own community. And I think a lot of people feel that if you're not, air quotes, educated in what's going on around the world, that you're definitely, you're a hindrance. And that's not the case at all. Because I think every day we, most people, they wake up, like you said, and they put a smile on, they see the barista at the Starbucks, or they, comb their daughter's hair, whatever. I mean, you're having a positive impact on other people's lives, and that filters throughout the world. So I do, in fact, believe that you don't have to be tuned into what's happening in the world to make a positive impact in it.
No, because it's easy to sit there and point fingers. And if I have one finger pointed at you,
right,
I have three pointed back at me. And taking ownership of those three fingers. I always said, if I keep my side of the street clean, I got nothing to worry about. It's easy to look across the street and saying, hey, you need to mow that lawn. You need to do that. You know what? I got to take care of my own lawn. And it's not a selfish state either. I give a lot back. That's just who I am in my purpose of life. I love giving back. So I don't walk around through life with blinders like a horse either. I do understand the political situation. I do understand the world situation. I do understand the environmental situation. What can I do about it? Can I stop China from using coal? I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. What I can do is, you think about the butterfly effect. Or there's a great book called The 100th Monkey. You ever hear about that book?
No, I haven't.
Well, basically, the monkeys lived on an island. The coconuts dropped into the sand. Well, they had to eat sandy coconuts, or the fruit. It wasn't a coconut, it was a fruit. So one monkey picked up the fruit, walked to the edge of the beach, and washed it off in the ocean. And organically, I don't know. They started on another island, the monkeys started doing it. On another island, the monkeys started doing it. So I believe by that example, again, if I can start within my own community by being a giver, by being socially aware, by making sure I'm contributing to my community, it has that ripple effect. Because that is within my control. That is within my reach. I can physically do that. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And I live my life in a very similar fashion. I mean, it's all about your sphere of influence, and, the further out you go, the less influence that you have. So, obviously your family unit, your friends, and then, beyond that is the people you interact with every day, the people you work with, clients, customers, vendors, partners, give them the same respect as you would, that you would want to be treated. It's the whole golden rule, basically. So yeah, I completely agree with you. And yeah, I can't stop China from using coal. It's so far outside of my sphere of influence, So, Brannon, what about, and you've already touched on some of this, but, absolutely, I am not looking for one trick pony, a silver bullet, anything like that. But what do you feel really contributes to your own personal growth?
Kaizen, constant improvement.
Yeah.
Like Toyota.
Okay.
Constant improvement. I am. Every day I empty my cup, I put on my white belt, and that's my new book, Live, Learn, and Grow. Right? I live and learn, and from that I grow. So if I constantly live from a learning mindset, I know I will constantly be evolving, growing, consciously becoming more aware. And that's why they say, was a boy, I played with toys. I became an adult. And I don't want to be a 60-year-old boy.
Right.
And I mean, in that behavior, sure, I love to play with kids and, my kids and all that. So, but I mean, that sense of evolution is very important. So as long as I'm committed to being a learner, I believe I'll constantly be growing. One of my mantras in business is we constantly improve upon what we do to better serve you. So I'm constantly improving myself, improving my culture, growing my tribe, improving the experience of anything that I do. Then I believe I'm heading on that upward projectile.
Yeah, and as soon as you said Kaizen, a big smile came across my face. That's I was recently asked, my podcast I only launched just back in June, so it's just over a month. And someone asked, "What success have I? What do I attribute my success to?" And I didn't say that because I didn't know if they would know the word, but I just said continuous improvement. Because there's multiple processes that you have, and you have to make changes to them frequently. So
and complacency is truly the enemy.
Absolutely, yes.
And change is inevitable. If you're not going to embrace change, and if you embrace change in a healthy way, it can really contribute to your growth and your progress in life. It's when we resist change and we want to live a complacent lifestyle because change is funky, change is upheaval, change is the unknown. Where I embrace it, I welcome it. Because I truly believe complacency is the enemy.
So, getting into like books or movies or anything like that, what would you say has really kind of helped you grow? And did you ever have that one book that you read and you're like, whoa, that was just really impactful?
Fortunately, like Bruce Lee said, take what you need and discard the rest. So my mind is open to that. I've read everything from Buddhism, Thich Nhat Hanh, to Dalai Lama, to early Deepak Chopra, to early Tony Robbins. And I say that because I find, much like any commercialized product, they'll take your most raw, humble belief system and then repackage it and regurgitate it again and again and again, like pop music, so they could have another million seller, right? So, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to read a book on Deepak and business and Deepak and his early stuff. The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, super powerful for me. The 4 Agreements by Juan, who wrote the 4 Agreements? Miguel Ruiz, I believe. The 4 Agreements, super powerful. The Mindset by Carol Dweck. The one by Dan Millman, The Peaceful Warrior. All those things. Because for me, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a modern day Renaissance man. Yes, I'm going to study business books like E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I'm going to study Delivering Happiness, Tony Hsieh, the guy from Zappos. Tribes by Seth Godin. But on the flip side of that, it doesn't matter how much financial success I have. If I'm not emotionally and spiritually balanced and happy and at peace, none of it matters. None of it matters. And the Dalai Lama said it so well. The person who's richest is the one who could be happiest with the least. So if I could be happy having grown up in poverty, welfare, food stamps, in a foster home, I learned to be happy with very little. So the rest of this is just gravy. So I think that's super important. Is there any one book? No, because I can go back and read a book that meant nothing to me 10 years ago. And today it has so much more impact on me because I'm ready to receive whatever's there. So I just encourage everybody, have an open mind, read constantly, because you never know what gem is going to fall out of the sky and, knock you on the head when you're ready to receive it.
Yeah, and I agree with reading books. There's been books in the past I read 10 years ago or whatever, and I've read recently, and I'm like, how did I not get that message?
Yeah, because you weren't ready for it. You just simply weren't ready. You weren't paying attention. You weren't in that mindset, that frame of mind. Because I want to receive it fully. If there's something I'm supposed to get out of today, I don't want to miss any of it or misinterpret the message, and then it's something it wasn't meant to be.
So, this podcast is all about, continuous improvement. We've already kind of talked about that earlier, and, we've never fully arrived and we've never necessarily mastered anything. What is it that you're currently working on in your life that you're trying to improve? And I know it's multifaceted, and, there's the spiritual side and physical and emotional and everything. But is there just one thing that kind of sticks out to you right now?
Well, right now, my life has been at such a breakneck speed. I was on the road 5 months last year in Germany, Spain, all over the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, teaching and doing seminars. I want to slow down. I want to slow down right now. The growth of my businesses has been amazing. The growth of my career has been amazing. I want to stop and smell the roses. So just to wake up and really mindfully take slower steps, mindfully practice an attitude of gratitude, but really focus on humility. Humility is very, very important for me. It's easy to believe your own hype, especially when other people are propping you up on a throne and all those other things. So mindfully, just being conscious of who I am today, being a better business, not a bigger business, being a better person versus being a bigger person, more evolved, more progressed. Sometimes it's really important just to stop and be still. So I'm really learning to be still right now.
Yeah, no, and I think that's definitely important. What if I've got a listener out here and they're just getting into waking up, and they see the blue pill and red pill in front of them, and that they're overwhelmed in regards to what their next step should be as a part of this journey. What kind of advice would you give them for a person starting out on a journey like this?
Well, I think always be mindful of your breath. Because if I'm going to make healthy choices, I'm going to decide which blue, gold, or red pill to take, or what book I'm going to read, or what seminar I'm going to attend, what retreat I'm going to go on, what spiritual group I might walk with. I want to be very in tune with myself. And as I shared, the journey is not outward, it's inward. And am I willing to journey inward and pull back my own covers and look at things that I'm going to go, oh, that really sucks. Can I do that? And love myself, warts and all. So when we talk about self-love, it's a really humbling journey. It's truly humbling. So I'm ever mindful, especially when I was in those chaotic spaces, I need some type of anchor. I really do. And if I can trust that journey inward, even though I might be confused, I might be unbalanced, if I truly understand at a true source, I'm beautiful. We're all amazing. We're all special, gifted people. And we've just been torn apart by, Vogue magazine, by the media, by a bully, by maybe a parental figure, by failures, by heartbreaks. But if I'm at that point, at least I know I'm still alive in here. And we can't discount that. And some of us, I work with so many people that have just been beaten down so far that they have nothing left. When you're in that position, you have nothing left. Guess what? You have nothing to lose. And the cool thing about being lost is being found. So again, if I can start living that way and embracing that and looking at the worst parts of me, Tom, and loving those parts of me, because how am I going to heal them? How am I going to heal any of those parts of me I don't like if I look at them from a point of shame and I shun those parts of me? Again, love is all inclusive. I've got to love the worst parts of me if I'm going to heal them.
I agree. I think that, it falls back to, vulnerability and being able to just fully accept everything there is about you, about yourself. And, I think that falls into every other facet of life because, until you can really truly love yourself and respect yourself, then you can start giving that to other people. But if you...
It's so funny when we teach respect to a child in our martial arts classes, we teach them respect, just treat people the way they want to be treated. But we teach them true respect begins with self-respect, doing the things to help you become a better person. Number one, respect your mind. Learn something new every day. Number two, respect your body by exercising and eating healthy foods. And number three, do things you really love, whether that's spending time with your family or a friend. So if I feed those three elements equally, mind, body, and spirit, I'm going to produce the highest level of self-respect, which helps me set healthy boundaries, not tolerating, people that are negative or hurt my life, not compromising my integrity for anything. So really that journey inward but it can be lonely. It's a lonely journey. I went on a 3-year exile one time where I was celibate. I didn't date anybody. It was this true journey inward. And that was a huge part of my life to recognize that I need to love myself before I could really love somebody else. It's easy to love somebody else. If I could project all my energy on you and I'm all messed up, then I have to look at myself.
Right.
Or even hang out with more people that are more dysfunctional than I am. That's not going to inspire me. I can just say, well, I'm not so bad, and not to be judgmental. If I can hang with people it's like martial arts. I'm not going to train with someone that's not better than me. I'm going to train with people better than me. They're going to elevate my game. If I want to be better at chess, I'm going to hang out with someone that can beat me all day in chess. It's going to make me a better chess player. It's the same thing here. But if I hang out with someone all day, I can beat all day long in chess. It feeds my ego, but I never grow.
Right.
I never grow.
Yeah, never be the smartest person in the room.
Never, ever, ever.
Well, wow, you're giving a lot of truth bombs here, Brandon, and I really appreciate it. And there's so much awesome content in this. It's going to take me a while to put the show notes together for this, but this has been fantastic. Kind of wrapping up, what are you working on nowadays? I know you've got a couple of books out, and
So I've got a new book called Live, Learn, Grow, Lessons of a Reluctant Tiger. It's available at Amazon.com and books. It's doing really, really well. I just launched a children's series called The Adventures of Bray and Tay. It immortalizes my kids at 3 and 6, and each adventure is a different life skill. So the first book is about focus. Now we're working on one for confidence. I have a company called One Merit Badges that we've retooled to Kids Love Life Skills. I really believe life skills are one of those universal things we all need to master. We can plant seeds early and often for kids. It's powerful for things like focus, integrity, humility, gratitude, all these different life skills that we're not taught, that we're supposed to be innately, magically supposed to have focus. No, you're not.
Right.
You learn these things and then you make them part of your habit. So that's a big project right now, Kids Love Life Skills. I have a big event coming up in November 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th called It's Time Live Encore. I do these a couple of times a year, and it's a 4-day retreat here in San Francisco. So that's coming up. It's part business, part self-help. And I'm everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Snapchat, YouTube. You'll find me everywhere.
Well, I just a quick question about the children, or the merit badge that you mentioned. I just have curiosity. Can you go into that a little bit more detail? Like focus. Yeah, I would love to hear kind of what you don't have to give me your, the algorithm, but I would love to hear a little bit more about that, because that's definitely up my alley.
Well, I think a lot of the life skills we're taught are guilt-based. Let's take focus. You'll hear a teacher say, pay attention when I'm talking to you.
Right.
You'll hear a say, look at me, pay attention, focus. So we associate a lot of pain, guilt, and shame with life skills. But if we can look at a child and say, focus means pay attention. Look with your eyes, listen with your ears, think with your mind, do the right thing with your body. Oh, what happens if you have great focus when you're watching your favorite movie? I won't miss the best part. What happens if you focus when you eat ice cream on a hot summer day? It won't melt. So if you share these life skills in a positive, age-specific manner, they're more likely to want to embrace that skill and use it. So there's several components. One is a Mat Chat that facilitator, parent, coach can read. There's a student parent handout that they can share, like Table Talk, and have a conversation. And then there's one for the facilitator to understand why I'm teaching this life skill. Again, it's very impulsive to say, look at me when I'm talking to you, versus where should your eyes be when we're speaking together? Oh, on you. Great. Good choice. High five. See, one is very positive and engaging. One's extremely negative. So it's a very simple life skill system. There's a reward system of a merit badge that says focus. Looks really cool. People put it on shirts, lanyards. We're creating one product for parents. We're creating a product for homeschoolers now. We're creating a product for coaches. So we're going to run the gamut. We've just really tested it through the martial arts industry. And now that it has some legs, we're going to take it out to the public.
Well, I really like that. Have you ever heard of nonviolent communication?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've read a couple of things on it, but I don't know it extremely well.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say what I don't either, but I do know it gets into that. Rather than, you make me feel this way. Well, I feel, when you talk to me, or, rather than putting blame on you. So like, Brannon, when you talk to me like that.
Yeah, but we learn that in business, team building, everything.
Yeah.
Speaking I statements are powerful.
Yes.
We're afraid to speak in I statements because there's no I in team.
Right.
No way. I am hurt by you calling me stupid. I am hurt by that.
Right.
Oh, really? Wow, I wasn't aware of that. That's hurtful. Wow, I am sorry. I can't say you are sorry. If I did something wrong, say, I am sorry. I didn't know that. You've created awareness. I'm cool with that. So yeah, again, going back to that self-love, going back to that sense of self-esteem, self-awareness, without being a totally arrogant, self-serving, narcissistic person, again, the healthy balance, I need to say, you know what? I love myself. And I hurt when you speak to me that way.
Yeah.
So it's probably just a different form of that. But that's very powerful in communication. I statements are very powerful.
Yeah, it's all about I guess you could say it's being vulnerable because you're sharing how you feel, but it is about self-respect. It's about love, and it's all about open communication and trust. And if you don't
imagine reframing it that way. See, where we respond emotionally, Tom. So, why did you do that to me? Versus, I really trust you, so I'm going to share this with you.
Right.
I'm really hurt. I'm really hurt that you excluded me from playing ball with you guys.
Well, I really admire what you're doing here, Brannon, because you're teaching these life skills, like you said, at an early age. I can't imagine what these young people are going to be like in 10 years, 20 years, and, down the road. That's the future. And going back to what we were talking about 20 minutes ago, you are absolutely doing something in your community and the people that you surround yourself with, and, turning the world into a more positive place. And obviously, I think that's fantastic.
Yep, but it should be all wrapped up with a nice bow and humility and gratitude. People go into my business and there's not a single picture of me. There's not a single trophy. There's no diplomas, none of that. I think it's very, very, very important to constantly have a system of checks and balances that keep you humble and keep you grateful. I think that's what is the fuel for my work. Humility and gratitude.
Well, I think that's an excellent way to wrap this up, Brannon. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to touch on?
No, if people want to find me, you'll find me at Facebook, all the different social media. More about my services, you can go to brannonbeliso.com, and that's it.
Okay.
If I can encourage anything, as I always say, just go out there and live your best life. You define your success. You are the architect of your business. Try not to live from the herd mentality or the sheep mentality. Go out there. And Ferris Bueller, I don't want to be the guy on the sideline watching the parade go by. I want to be Ferris Bueller on the lead float, waving my baton, singing Twist and Shout. And let yourself be that. Let yourself be your best and know that you can always do and be better.
Well, thank you, Brannon. I really appreciate this today. And this was, like I said, so much value in this episode. So thank you.
I am grateful. Thank you, Tom.
Brannon brings so much in this episode and his way of life. We discuss first how you need to live in the present. Otherwise, if you live in the past, you end up getting depressed and lonely. And then if you always think about the future, you always get, typically you get anxious because you're like, what's going to happen? And you avoid living in the now. Furthermore, Brannon talks about how he embraces pain and he uses suffering as a teaching tool, and he believes that suffering is just a part of life and love. And when we go through that suffering, that's where we can find out some of our blocks and how we can be a better person, and it will teach us. Brannon also discusses his leadership, where he goes 24/7, and how his cycle all day, every day, and how he incorporates that not only into his life, but as well as his business.
Thanks for listening to the UpRev Ninja podcast with your host, Tom Hudson. Navigate to our website at uprev.ninja today, where you will find additional resources to help you discover the best version of you. While you're there, join our newsletter and join the discussion on your favorite social media platforms. We've got some awesome guests lined up to share with us how they are becoming the best versions of themselves. Again, thank you for listening. Now it's time to go out and uprev your life. Thanks for listening to the UpRev Ninja podcast with your host, Tom Hudson. Navigate to our website at uprev.ninja today, where you will find additional resources to help you discover the best version of you. While you're there, join our newsletter and join the discussion on your favorite social media platforms. We've got some awesome guests lined up to share with us how they are becoming the best versions of themselves. Again, thank you for listening. Now it's time to go out and uprev your life.